G'day, my name is Shay with Box Collector, and today I will be teaching you how to play the 2 to 4 player game Rumian, published by Murdoch Games. Rumian is an action-packed 2 to 4 player strategy board game combining resource management, exploration, and high adventure. Players compete to shape this ancient kingdom according to their vision and become the next great legend and earn the golden relic of Rumian. In Rumian, you can take on different playstyles. For example, you can focus on building, playing cards, completing quests, conquering territory, or gathering resources to craft and sell goods in the market. You are free to combine these different playstyles or delve deeper into one style. Depending on the player's choices, the kingdom and the game will take different shapes each playthrough. A game of Rumian is played over an unlimited number of turns until a player reaches or passes 14 victory points, which then triggers the last round of the game. To set up the game, place the game board in the middle of the table. Place the resources, wood, tools, stone, and grain, and the goods, gems, bread, and barrels in the supply box within reach of all the players. Form 3 decks, 1 deck for each card type. Special cards, quest cards, and event cards. Shuffle each deck, then place them face down near the game board. Place the 2 black dice, 2 white dice, wolf meeple, council tokens, and market tile near the game board. Place the relic of Rumian on space 14 of the victory point track. Each player chooses a color and places the matching 4 action markers, 2 player meeples, 3 cottages, and 3 gates in front of them. Each player places one of their player meeples at the start of the victory point track. Each player takes a player board and a reference card. The reference card is a compact guide with key actions and build costs for quick and easy reference. The game board consists of 4 different regions: woodlands, countryside, mountains, and the town. Each region has an action zone where player meeples are placed to take actions during the game. The smaller action zone within the town is the council, which functions differently than the other action zones. Each region produces unique resources and goods which are shown to the left and the right side of each region's action zone. So woodlands produces wood and barrel, mountains, stone and gems, countryside, grain and bread, and the town, tools. After you've randomly chosen the first player to start the game, each player takes 2 quest cards and places them face down in front of them. Each player places their player meeple in the town and take 1 optional starting resource. Finally, the first player takes their first turn and play continues clockwise until the game ends. Your player board is used to show which actions you take during your turn. The left side lists all of the available actions you can take on your turn. The number of squares to the right of each action shows how many times you can take a specific action on your turn. For example, you can take the build action twice per turn, but the craft goods action only once. To take an action on your turn, place one of your action markers to the right of the chosen action. So in this example, blue takes the build action. You have 4 actions to use on your turn, each represented by an action marker. And at the end of your turn, always reset your player board by removing all of your action markers. You may choose to take fewer than 4 actions on a turn, and actions can be taken in any order, but you must complete 1 action before beginning the next. Playing a special or quest card does not count as an action. You may play a card at any time on your turn, even between actions, unless the card text specifies otherwise. On your turn, you can play 1 special card and 1 quest card. When taking the Gather Resources action, gain 1 resource from the region where your player meeple is located, and gathered resources are always taken from the supply box. So as you can see here in the woodlands, in the top left of the region's action zone, you can see which resource can be gathered in that region, in this case, wood. So you gain 1 wood. The move action is used to obviously move around to the different regions on the game board. When using the move action, move your player meeple to any unoccupied region's action zone on the game board. If another player or the wolf is in a region, you cannot move there since it's occupied, so I can't move to the mountains. The town is an exception to this rule. You can always move here, and there's no limit to the number of players that can be in the town at the same time. To move into an occupied region, you must first battle and win over the player or the wolf standing there before placing your meeple in that region. And you can always move between any region's action zone to another unoccupied action zone with a single move, since all regions are adjacent. So let's say I want to move to the mountains, but red's there. So I need to win a battle using the battle action to move here. And no battles can occur in the town, and no player standing in the town can be battled. So when taking the battle action, you're going to announce which player you're battling, which in this case, I'll say, okay, red, I'm battling you. As the attacker, I'm going to roll 2 black dice, and the defender is going to roll the 2 white dice. And the player with the highest total result wins. In case of a tie, the defending player wins. So if you win the battle, the defending player is forced to move into the town, and your meeple will be placed in the region you battled, and then you choose whether to gain 1 victory point or 1 good from the corresponding region. So in this case, a gem. If you lose the dice roll as the attacking player, your player meeple remains in the area you were standing in. So if I was attacking red from the town, then I would stay in the town. And if the defending player wins, they also gain 1 resource from the region they defended in, so they would get a stone. If you lose a battle either as the attacker or defending player, you may pay 1 tool to continue the battle by doing a reroll with the dice. When you pay for a reroll, the battle continues with the attacking player rolling the black dice again, and the defending player then rolls the white dice, then resolve the new results. Rerolls do not count as an action, and they can only be done once per battle by both the attacking and the defending player if they lose the dice roll. Let's say instead from the town I want to go into the woodlands, so I'm going to attack the wolf. As before, I will take 2 black dice as the attacker, and you can also spend 1 tool to reroll against the wolf once per battle. If you roll 7 or less, you lose the battle and nothing happens. If you roll 8 to 10, you win the battle, and you'll place your meeple in the region with the wolf, and then gain any 1 resource from the supply box. So it doesn't have to be the resource from the region you're in. If you roll between an 11 and 12, you again win the battle. You'll place your meeple in the region with the wolf and gain any 2 resources from the supply box. And after winning a battle, place the wolf in any region except the town. And if there is a player meeple in the region you place the wolf, they must retreat to the town and lose 0, 1, or 2 resources, depending on how many resources they have. Using the build action allows you to build either 1 cottage or 1 gate in the region you stand in. Each region has 2 round building spaces below its action zone that can each hold 1 cottage. And gates are placed in available square spaces in the town. The town has 3 square spaces along its walls that each can hold 1 gate. To build, you must pay specific resource combinations. So to build a cottage, it costs 2 wood, a grain, and a stone. After building a cottage, immediately gain 2 victory points. And you increase resource production. So when you take the gather resource action, you gain 1 extra resource for each cottage you have in this region. So in this case with the town, when taking the gather resources action, you would get 2 tools instead of 1. To build a gate, it costs 1 wood, 1 grain, and 1 stone. You immediately gain 1 victory point, and you gain 1 resource every time another player passes through your gate. If you're in the town, you can build a gate in any of the 3 spots, but you can also build a gate outside of town if you're in another region, but you can only build it in the spot connected to your region. So in this case, I'm in the woodlands, so I can only build a gate here. When another player passes through your gate on their way in or out of town, choose one of the regions adjacent to your gate and gain 1 resource from that region. So in this case, my gate is connected to the woodlands, so I can take either a wood or a tool. Not only do you move through a gate when taking the move action, but also when you retreat to the town after losing a battle or after a wolf attack, or moving into the council from an outer region, which we'll talk about later. If all round building spaces are full in a given region, and only then, you may still build and replace an existing cottage with your own. So if I wanted to build a cottage, I could spend the resource cost and replace Red's cottage with mine. And similarly, if all square spaces are full, you can still build and replace an existing gate with one of your own. You'll return the removed building to the original player, and they don't lose any victory points. When buying a card, you may buy either a special card or a quest card, regardless of where you are standing on the game board. And if you choose to take the buy a card action twice, you can buy 2 special cards, 2 quest cards, or one of each card type. So when you buy a card, take the top card of the chosen deck and add it to your hand. Always keep your cards hidden until you play them, so your opponents can't anticipate your play. And you may buy and play a card on the same turn or save them for later. Special cards cost 1 tool, and they give you benefits to use on your turn, such as unique actions, resources, or victory points. You can have a maximum of 3 special cards in your hand, and you may discard special cards at any time during your turn. If you already have 3 special cards in your hand, you can't buy more cards. You must first play or discard at least one of your existing cards so you have space to buy more. When you play a special card, immediately gain its benefit unless stated otherwise, and then discard the card. And if the special card deck ever runs out, shuffle the discarded cards to form a new deck and bring it into the game again. Quest cards cost a stone or a grain, and they give you missions to follow during the game. Each quest will earn you 1 or 2 victory points when completed. And all of the same rules apply to quest cards as they did special cards. So you can't have more than 3, and you can choose whether to complete a quest or not. There's not a penalty for uncompleted quests. You can never discard quest cards. So if you have 3 quest cards in your hand, you must first complete one before buying a new quest card. And if the quest card deck runs out during the game, you can't buy any more quest cards. The requirements written on the quest card must be fulfilled the moment you play your quest card in order for it to be counted as complete. So you'll reveal the quest card to the other players and place it face up in front of you. And then you'll gain the number of victory points as written on the quest card and move as many spaces on the victory point track. Keep completed quest cards in front of you since they're used to break ties during the final scoring. And after completing the quest, you don't need to maintain the requirements to keep your victory points. At key moments throughout the game, players will reveal event cards. Event cards show which region the wolf roams through and in which region the market will find its latest customers. Draw an event card each time the player with the most victory points reaches or passes a red space on the victory point track. When activating an event card, your turn ends immediately even if you have actions remaining, and you cannot play any quest or special cards. You'll draw the top card of the event pile and reveal the card to all players. And you'll move the wolf meeple to the action zone of the region shown on the top of the event card. If a player meeple is currently in that region, the wolf attacks that player. Move the market tile to the region shown on the bottom half of the card, in this case the mountains, ensuring that the market tile does not cover the action zone. Then place one of each good shown on the event card onto the market tile, in this case a bread and barrel, discarding any goods that were previously on the tile, and the next player takes their turn. If the wolf moves and a player meeple is there, that player must retreat to the town and lose resources as they flee. The wolf can never enter the town, and the wolf will only leave a region if a new event card is revealed, or if a player defeats the wolf in a battle. If you have to retreat to the town but you don't have any resources, just move to the town. If you have 5 or fewer resources, return any 1 resource to the supply when attacked, and if you have 6 or more resources, return 2. When you take the craft goods action, you can use resources to craft goods, and goods can be traded for other resources or sold to gain victory points in the market. And goods are also used for completing quests. Each region, except for the town, has a unique good connected to it that can be crafted when you are standing in that specific region. You may craft up to 3 goods with a single craft goods action. Gems are crafted in the mountains, barrels in the woodlands, and bread in the countryside. To craft goods, make sure you are standing in the region that corresponds to the type of good you want to craft, take the craft good action, and pay the required resources for the good to the supply box, which the cost is always 2 of the region's corresponding resource. So if I wanted to craft a gem, it would cost me 2 stone. So if I wanted to get the maximum of 3 gems, I could pay 6 stone. When you sell goods at the market, you gain 1 victory point per good sold. You may sell up to 3 goods with a single sell goods action and earn 3 victory points. Your player meeple must be in the region where the market tile is to sell goods, and you may only sell the 2 goods shown on the market tile. So if in my inventory I had 2 gems and a barrel, then I could sell all 3 of those to gain 3 victory points. And when you trade goods at the market, you can exchange goods for resources. The trade rate is 1 good into 2 optional resources, and you may trade up to 3 goods with a single trade goods action and get 6 optional resources in exchange. And of course, to trade goods, you must be in the region where the market tile is, and you can only trade the goods shown on the market tile. The council lets 2 players join forces to make the player with the highest score lose 2 victory points. You may move into the council from any region with 1 move action. And if you're in the town, you must still move into the council. Once a player moves their player meeple into the council on their turn, they must leave their player meeple in the council and wait for another player to join them. As soon as another player moves their player meeple to the council on their turn, so there are 2 player meeples in the action zone, the council is activated, and the player with the highest score immediately loses 2 victory points on the victory point track. If there are multiple players tied for the highest score, all tied players lose 2 victory points. Then immediately move the 2 player meeples in the council to the town, and that is not an action. The player or players who lost 2 victory points take a council token, and now they cannot be targeted by the council again this game. The second player who activated the council may continue the turn if they have actions remaining. If you're in the council and you decide you want to leave, the only action you can take is to move back into the town. You may still play cards as usual while standing in the council, as that's not an action. And as I stated before, when you move into the council from a region outside the town, gates give you resources. And you may activate the council even if you're the player with the highest score, but you'll lose 2 victory points, so I don't know why you would. In a 2-player game, you can activate the council by yourself, making the player with the highest score lose victory points. The player with the lowest score moves their meeple to the council, then rolls 2 dice. If the total of the dice is between 2 and 5, nothing happens. If the roll is 6 or more, the player with the highest score that has 1 to 3 victory points more than you loses 2 victory points. If the player with the highest score has 4 or more victory points than you, they lose 3 victory points. Each player can try to activate the council only once per game. After rolling the dice and resolving the outcome, place your player meeple in the town's action zone. This is not an action. The other player takes a council token as a reminder that you cannot activate the council against them again this game, even if the player with the highest score did not lose any victory points. As I said before, the first player to reach or exceed 14 victory points triggers the last round of the game. If that player still has turns to use, they can take those turns, and then in clockwise order, every other player gets their final turn. Once everyone has gone, add up your victory points, and the player with the most victory points wins. And that is how you play Rumian. I hope you enjoyed learning how to play, and if you liked this video, feel free to check out my other videos. Thanks.